there's no place like home for the holidays. And no matter how far away you roam, if you pine for the sunshine of a friendly gaze, for the holidays you can.
Welcome back to Horror for the Holidays, a Christmas horror movie podcast. I'm Jay Logsden.
And I'm Jeff Searcy, but this time I'm from Wisconsin.
Oh, Wisconsin, Jeff. Big fan of the Packers shutting down the Cowboys last Sunday, I guess. Yes. 2 Sundays ago at the time of this release.
Cheese curds and Packers and beer and stuff.
New Glarus spotted cow, all the good stuff. Well, Jeff, I got you a little extra Christmas gift. Here we are in the middle of January.
Oh, okay. Uh-oh, we got something. A Pumpkinhead shirt. Nice.
The Fright Rags graveyard. That was one of the shirts for this month. So they'll bring back, if you've spent enough money on Fright Rags, which I have. You get access to the graveyard, and they will give you a they'll reprint old shirts, but they are custom orders only.
Oh, okay.
And so they only do certain ones all the time. And so that one popped up, and as soon as I saw that, I was like, I got to get Jeff a Pumpkinhead shirt.
Well, very cool. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. It's a reminder of the spooktacular.
I'll have to wear it to next year's spooktacular.
Oh yes. Oh man, all the sequels we're gonna watch next year on the Spooktacular. Pumpkinhead 2.
We'll just call it the Spooktacular, but worse.
WNUF 2. Third Saturday in October 5. Halloween 3. The best one.
I was gonna say,
and
that's
then
Jay's favorite.
An extra movie. All right. Well, anyway, I don't even know if there's 5 Mondays in October. I guess we'll have to find that out.
We will indeed.
But let's get into it. We'll deck the halls for 1983's Bloodbeat. On Wikipedia it says 1982, but everything else I saw said 1983.
As to say, there's a little bit of controversy apparently, but yes, people actually saw it in 1983, but I think it was made in 1982.
Yeah, March 18th, 1983 was the video release. I believe it was a video release, partially because writer, composer, director Fabrice Ange Zafratos was too high to realize that the guy who was doing the recording was recording for TV, 35 millimeter or whatever.
Yes.
Instead of film.
Yes. Not only did he record it, thinking it was for TV, he also recorded it in full screen because obviously you would.
Right, because it's TV.
Which would make it look completely ridiculous on a movie theater screen.
But yeah, apparently he was quite high when writing the film.
You don't say, Jay. You could never tell from the movie.
Which certainly stands out. He was also, at points, the camera operator, the editor, and was our samurai ghost for some of the scenes. But yeah, writer, composer, director. Move over, John Carpenter.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure John Carpenter is shaking in his boots, Jay. From the amazing movie we just watched.
Filmed in Spring Green, Wisconsin, which is also where Zafratos lived on a farm alongside Helen Benton, who plays Kathy, kind of our main character.
I guess
it was kind of like like an artist collective or something like that. Is what I read this in Matt Dupay's book.
You want to know what a positive review of this movie said, Jay?
Sure.
Essentially an 86-minute non sequitur with cheesy optical effects, lunacy, juxtapositions that never make any sense. And this movie rarely has its desired effect, but it does keep you watching out of sheer horror at what may come on the screen next.
One of my favorite quotes from a review was from Rob Hunter of Film School Rejects. I'd be lying if I said I had any clue what the hell was going on plot-wise.
Yeah, that's about right.
But pretty much the entire cast, I assume, is from Wisconsin because most of them, this is their only credited film appearance.
Yeah, pretty much. I think there might have been one guy in it that was in something else, but it was another like local film.
Yeah, I think there was one guy who has like 10 things on his IMDb. The Japanese film title is Bloodbeat, the Blade of Bloodthirsty Devilishness, which I just think is a great name.
Of course.
We're scraping the bottom of the barrel for Deck the Hall's information here.
Well, I had another review from Bloody Disgusting. Another positive review, by the way. That says, esoteric at best, inscrutable at worst. Managed to cast a spell on me that mesmerized me from beginning to end. I don't know if I'm okay.
Well, as we always like to do, we talk about personal experience with the movie. For me, I bought this movie off of Vinegar Syndrome a couple years back, and I just knew I had to watch it. So I made my wife watch it with me like one day, and then we just sat around talking about it for like an hour afterwards because we had no idea what we had just seen.
Well, my personal experience with this movie started with Jay Logsdon subverting the will of the wheel not once but twice. So I knew it was going to be a terrible thing that I was going to have to endure just based on cosmic punishment. And then his wife came in and found out what we were watching, and then her face just dropped in sheer disappointment, and she fled the room immediately.
Well, disagree. This movie's great.
So I knew I was in for a time.
Also, didn't you say like Patton had talked about this on a podcast you would listen to or something?
Yes, I believe one of his Red Letter Media appearances, he talked about this movie and with some other samurai movies.
I mean, this is the best one.
No, I still think Samurai Cop is the best one.
Also, I mean, I must say, for a Wisconsin movie, I mean, I think this is better than Trapped Alive, which was a Wisconsin filmed in Wisconsin.
I mean, I don't know. That I'd have to get into some high level math to figure that out.
You can watch this on Tubi. I think it was on Shudder. I don't think it is currently. I'm sure it's streaming a couple other places. Like I said, Vinegar Syndrome release.
Let's face it, if you have any interest in buying this movie, you're going to buy it on Blu-ray like Jay did.
Yep.
You don't have to worry about watching it on Tubi.
Oh, it's so good. All right, well, let's get into our synopsis. We get our funky synth music playing over opening credits. The title card, Bloodbeat, appears on the screen in white as a knife hits it and turns it to red with blood dripping.
My wife had a good description of the synth in this movie.
Bad?
It was like John Carpenter had a stroke.
We get scenes of Gary, a man we will know as Gary soon, walking through the forest doing some bow hunting. He clearly isn't as tactical as our cops in Krampus the Christmas Devil because he's not hopping through the...
There's no hopping, no tactical pauses, Jay. It's amateur hour.
As he lets fly his arrow, the scene cuts to him driving his red truck up to his house where he lives with Kathy. She complains about a migraine after seeing the dead deer, and Gary attempts to propose, but Kathy shuts him down. And this it's kind of implied this isn't the first time that she's shut him down.
Gary, I cannot marry you because of my blood beat. I've said this a million times.
Yep. Next, we see Gary beginning to butcher the carcass of the deer. A car pulls up with Kathy's kids, Ted and his sister Dolly. And inside is Ted's girlfriend, Sarah. Sarah seems bothered by the blood on Gary's hands, which I get because he's trying to clean his hands with leaves that he's just picked up off the ground.
Yep, nice.
But yeah, it's Christmas break. They're home for Christmas. I didn't catch it when it said, but apparently later on, Dolly tells Kathy at some point, but I think it's off screen, that she's quitting school.
Yes, that is one of the...
Like, it's talked about afterwards, but I never actually heard her say the words, I'm quitting school.
It's hard to know what's supposed to be part of the plot and what was just ad-libbed by these people sitting around talking between takes.
Ted introduces Sarah to his mom, and she gives her a look, and we get a synth sound as Sarah's blood beat starts to activate, maybe?
I don't know. Well, clearly the mom's blood beat's been activated for a while.
Yeah,
so.
they talk about how she has, like, precognitive powers, and she always knows what people are thinking.
Well, by the way, my mom can read your mind and is psychic, but it's no big deal. Goodbye.
Kathy continues to shoot daggers at Sarah, showcases some of her precognition, knowing that Sarah would be there without being told there's a Christmas present under the tree for her. And also, Kathy's paintings seem to bother Sarah. Jeff and I surmise that maybe it's because Kathy mixes her blood into her paintings.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Kind of like that Kiss comic.
sort of blood beat magic. I don't know.
Up in the guest room, Sarah has a weird rotoscoped red image of a baby crying appear in her eyes, but no one else sees it.
Also, kudos to the rotoscoper in this movie for even being able to work with this budget.
Sarah continues to be bothered by Kathy and her blood beat activating.
Oh, God.
Ted tries to make his move, but Sarah complains that she can feel Kathy's presence even in the room, as we cut to a picture of the painting on the wall.
So, yes, Ted, not for the last time, is cock-blocked by the blood beat.
Yeah, or his mom, I don't know.
Both.
Dolly informs Gary that someone named the Red Baron is coming to go hunting with them. Gary calls him an old mosquito killer. I'm not sure if that's some kind of racial epithet or something.
Well, you want to know what the craziest part is? According to the plot summary, that's their Uncle Peter.
Yep, that's their Uncle Pete.
And I don't know why they represent him as like a family friend or somebody that's friends with their dad or whatever, or just like a crazy old man they're going to meet, and it's literally just their uncle who they would know already,
who is also the Red Baron
and an old mosquito killer.
Yeah, watch out, Snoopy. They're about to kill a deer. Like, they decide to go hunting with Uncle Pete. They're about to kill a deer when suddenly Sarah is not interested.
Yes. Bear in mind, Sarah goes on this hunting trip based on her reaction earlier to the blood and everything, not liking it. She's gonna go kill an animal because that makes sense.
No, is 100% game to go, and then as soon as they get out there, just starts complaining about not wanting to be there. It's like, why did you go in the first place?
Guys, my blood beat is giving me such a headache.
When they're about ready to shoot, she screams, and we get a red and green flashing across the screen as she yells "no," and the deer runs away or something.
This is a very Anakin Skywalker turning into Darth Vader now.
I assume her blood beat gives her some kind of animal empathy or something like that. I don't know.
I'm guessing this director was high off his ass, decided to throw that in there.
Sarah runs off through the woods, being chased by Ted, not sure how to deal with her budding blood beat powers. She blood beats again as she runs into a man who has clearly been slashed in the chest.
Yeah.
How he got like this is unclear, but I assume it's her blood beat.
Yeah, I guess.
We never get any resolution for why this man has been killed in the forest and stumbling around.
Literally, police and paramedics come, get this guy, and you never hear about this again.
Yeah, it was daytime when they were hunting, and it's suddenly night.
Yes.
as the paramedics come. The doctor, I have the quote. I was saving it for our quotes later, but the doctor says I gave her my old special treatment at one point. Mm-hmm. And they're like, "Do you know who this guy is?" "Nope, never seen him before in my life." "Is he that poacher that's been going around?" "Nope, never seen him before in my life." Sarah goes to bed, begs with Ted to take Kathy's pictures with him. Ted talks with Kathy as she continues, or confides in him that she doesn't like Sarah and feels like she's seen her somewhere before, and maybe this is blood beat related, because she's like, "No, Ted, it's not like that," and she kind of gives him a look. They never say the words blood beat. Jeff and I are just using blood beat to describe their powers.
We'll get into this later, but yes, you know absolutely nothing about the blood beat going into this movie, and you'll know nothing about it leaving this movie.
Kathy's blood beat begins to influence her paintings, while Sarah's blood beat reveals a chest in her room with a samurai sword and a suit of armor.
I mean, it's basically just psychic powers.
Yeah.
Undefined nebulous psychic powers.
I felt like kind of like Sarah is kind of like a Dark Phoenix Jean Grey storyline. That's kind of what it seemed like to me.
I mean, I guess.
In a weird way.
She never really changes at all. She just starts out that way.
Sarah cuts her finger on the sword and falls out of bed with a loud thud that causes everyone to run upstairs. As Kathy's blood beat starts subsiding. Ted comes in to find her, but there is no sword, armor, and there's never even been a trunk in that room.
Wow.
We get a brief image of a little girl touching the sword and crying. At first, I thought maybe this was Sarah earlier in her life, and her blood beat was repressed at that point, but maybe it was Kathy, because we see the same girl painting an image of a samurai warrior wreathed in red a little bit later.
Or maybe it was neither of them.
Yeah, maybe it's a third nebulous girl.
It was the samurai ghost.
Kathy says he hasn't seen Uncle Pete, but knows he's all right. We cut to Uncle Pete getting killed by the samurai ghost. He's calling for help on a CB.
And you mean the Red Baron?
Yep. He's been run off the road and seems kind of spooked about the whole situation. Something with a deep breathing POV a la Michael Myers stalks up behind him. And he turns around and goes to scream, but his throat gets slashed. Meanwhile, Sarah, who's now downstairs because she was so weirded out by her dream, goes, "I'm going to bed."
Yeah, like you do.
We cut to a couple named Paul and Christy. I think it's implied that they're maybe their next door neighbors, but he also gets in the car and drives, so I think he lives further away.
I was going to say, it's hard to say with this movie.
And their goodest dog, Chucky, the big old husky.
Yeah.
Paul yells at Christy about forgetting. Oh, these two people fucking hate each other, by the way. Paul and Christy seem to absolutely despise each other.
I mean, that's basically what it looked like to me.
He yells at Christy about forgetting his orange juice, which is a thing he never asked for.
No, Jay, he psychically asked with his blood beat for orange juice. You just didn't see it in the movie.
As the POV shots stalk around the exterior of the house.
Oh, Jay, I think before we go any further, we should also mention that they say, "Hey, it's Christmas," and then there's one shot of a Christmas tree in this movie, so it's Christmas.
And there's also Christmas lights outside the house.
I mean, for 5 seconds.
Christy gets run through with a sword in the kitchen. Paul goes to investigate, and slow motion then gets chased through his house, and it's topped off with a scene of him diving through his window.
And no one knows why.
Paul gets in his van and tries to go to get help, but the POV continues to follow him even though he's driven conceivably miles away. Paul arrives outside of Kathy's house, but he gets shot with an arrow.
Oh, no. I hope this doesn't have anything about archery skills that were mentioned earlier in it.
While this has been going on, Kathy has been having visions and convulsions. Kathy has been having visions and convulsions, like in the living room, while Sarah is having toe-curling, body-contorting orgasms that reach her climax when the people are killed.
I wonder if this has anything to do with her blood beat, Jay.
It does. At the house, so like Paul was just killed outside the house. Inside the house, things start catching on fire suddenly. Gary is attacked by various items in the kitchen, including knives, a can of Tab soda, and a container of Quaker Oats.
I think somebody watched Carrie before they made this movie, Jay.
Dolly just screams the whole fucking scene, like just the entire time she's just screaming her head off. Ted tries to get to Sarah, but it's blocked by blue rotoscoping.
No.
And a sound effect that is called mystical boinging.
And that's the pyrokinesis from their blood beats, Jay.
A hand with a sword attacks Dolly through a window, and as her and Ted go to hide in a closet, and the samurai blade then starts to cut to them through the closet. While this is going on, Kathy is continuing to convulse in the living room, telling the entity to leave her family alone, and then her blood beat activates, driving the evil away with some silly red rotoscope effects.
Does it, though? Or is she just suppressing herself?
So this all calms down. Everyone's fine, even though Gary was just attacked with various kitchen implements.
I was going to say, I don't think everybody's fine, Jay. Quaker Oats were thrown.
Ted goes into Sarah. Everybody's fine. Ted goes into Sarah's room, undresses, and climbs into bed with her. If they weren't fine, he wouldn't be trying to fuck.
Oh, I don't know, Jay. I could be pretty messed up and still try to fuck.
They start fucking while the entity evilly whooshes its way towards some vagabonds eating soup and playing the harmonica.
And who knows why.
We now see that our entity is a glowing blue samurai as it stabs one of the guys who is just trying to take a leak. Another guy gets slashed and the third guy gets stabbed repeatedly, and at each death, Sarah comes again. The next morning, we see Chucky running through a foggy field as Gary loads Paul's body into the back of his truck for some reason.
Because, Jay, the blood beat told him to.
I assume it's because, during the big samurai fight scene in the house, all the phones caught on fire, and so they can't call anybody to come get Paul's body.
I mean, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why that would be his responsibility.
Dolly shows that maybe she has some blood beat powers by shutting her mom out of her mind. Dolly then goes to find Ted, who went into the forest, and we get these rotoscoped shots of the two of them as intense synth music plays. The samurai appears, moving towards Dolly, saying, "Come to me." And Dolly screams again. Gary and Ted rush towards her to help. They get kind of chased through the forest at this point. Or I think like when they arrive, the samurai disappears, but they're kind of like running, looking for it, / trying to draw it out or something.
Gary hits it with an axe.
Yeah, and then Gary hits it with an axe, and
he brings the armor home in a heap.
Yeah, the samurai disappears, but brings the armor and like the sword home with him. They get back to the house, and and the whole time, like after this happens, Dolly's just muttering, "Mom was right. Mom never mentioned a samurai ghost. I don't know what they're talking
She's
about."
literally never said anything about anything in this entire movie. But no, you know what the most ridiculous part of this is? He's carrying home the empty samurai armor, and they're like, "You gotta burn it. Burn it." And he's like, "No, I have to turn it into the police." And it's like, what the hell are the police gonna do with a set of samurai armor? Oh, it's like, oh, there was a guy in here, I swear, and he was killing people in this. It's like, well, did you catch a video of that or anything? 'Cause
Nope.
otherwise, it's gonna be useless.
So then Ted like lays Dolly back down in her bed, and Gary goes to, I don't know, maybe go get help.
It's hard to say.
It's hard to say why he goes outside. And then we get a scene of Kathy entering a room, and Sarah is now painted her face and is wearing the samurai armor and calls Kathy her sister in like a weird, like distorted voice.
Well, don't forget before that, Sarah burns a photo of herself with her psychic powers. Jay.
Or of another girl, or of Kathy.
Well, according to the plot summary on IMDb, it's supposed to be herself.
Okay, so she is Kathy's sister.
And then she throws Ted with her psychic powers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She traps him in her mystical boinging ability.
Go fuck yourself, Ted. You're getting boing.
Every time Ted gets like trapped with like mystical boinging, he has the silliest fucking look on his face.
That's his. I'm trying to resist the blood beat face, Jay.
And so then
yes, and that's what Kathy comes in. It's like, oh no, you're a reincarnation of whoever from my past.
But you're my sister, but you're also an ancient samurai warrior. And we get scenes of like Hiroshima and Nagasaki being bombed and like the U.S. occupation of Japan for some reason.
Somehow we were reincarnated into rural Wisconsin.
They have a showdown of their bloodbeat powers, which causes like Gary to have like a massive migraine, so he runs back into the house to help. He tries to save Kathy, immediately gets stabbed.
So to say, Sarah kills them both with ease.
Yeah, and then kills Kathy, and then we cut back to Kathy, and suddenly she's like all dusty and like white, and like her skin's flaking off like a mummy or something.
It's completely normal, Jay. Completely normal.
Ted and Dolly run into the room, and they're like, "What'd you do?" And they kind of have a showdown, and then their blood beats activate together.
Oh.
And in this scene, like I said, Ted has just the absolute silliest look on his face, which I only assume is his coming face.
Suddenly they have blood beat powers too, which also makes absolutely no sense because Dolly's were hinted at a little bit, but Ted has literally made no sign that he knows any of this is going on the entire movie, and then he has like blood beat powers strong enough to destroy the samurai.
Yeah, and they're like standing together, their hands with like red rotoscoping around the edges, destroy the samurai, and then they just put on coats and walk outside as the end credits roll.
Yeah, but Jay, just to make it more confusing, I love that they made the good energy red and the bad energy blue.
Right, the opposite of every other thing.
To make it more visually confusing.
Oh, what a movie. That's Bloodbeat for you. 86 minutes of pure American filmmaking.
Like I said before, you will know nothing about Bloodbeat going in, and you will exit Bloodbeat knowing nothing about Bloodbeat.
Like I said, I made a joke to you. I was like, other than the word, it's the Futurama. Like, it's 2 blurns to 0. The blurns are loaded, and there's 3 blurns. Other than the word blurn, none of that made sense. Other than the word Bloodbeat, none of that made sense.
Where should we even start with this?
I figured we could start with the quotes because we got some really good ones.
All right, go ahead.
All right, hold on. Sarah, are these the paintings your mom does? Ted, yeah, she painted that one, not that one. I don't know why he felt the need to be like, oh, she didn't paint that one.
Well, Jay, it's because you got to be very careful with crediting the artist. If Twitter's taught me anything.
Sarah is talking about how, like, Kathy doesn't seem to like her. And then Ted goes, I mean, Dolly's so doggone stupid. I mean, she comes home and tells Mom she's quitting school as soon as we doggone arrive. I mean, what kind of timing is that? Right before Christmas? All right, so we'll get to the old mosquito killer line. Dolly, the Red Baron's coming. He wants to go hunting. Gary, the old mosquito killer, huh? I don't know what that means, but it's really funny.
Well, I already said my favorite line. You have to burn that. Burn it! Gary's like, I have to take it to the police. Why? None of this makes any sense.
John, the paramedic, as the dead guy is being carted away, who died in the forest earlier in the movie. Doc, how's the girl, the doctor? She'll be fine. I gave her my special treatment. 3 aspirin and a shot of brandy, but he has a long pause where it's like, oh no, what did he give her?
That's literally what I wrote in mine. I gave her my special treatment, long pause.
And then the last one I have is one of the vagabonds who's eating soup goes, oh man, your new soup makes me want to pee.
Of course, Jay.
As always.
Oh God, blood beat. Just remembering it hurts my mind.
My
morale is being lowered, Jay.
Do you have any other quotes, or do you want to move on?
I just had 3 quotes. That was it. I was like, I can't pan through this anymore.
Let's do our Christmas spirit. How Christmassy is the movie? How Christmassy are the kills?
The kills are not Christmassy at all, and the movie is, I would say, like if we're going on an out of 5 scale, probably 1 out of 5 Christmas.
I mean, Christmas kind of serves as a reason to have the kids home from school.
I guess, but you could have done that with anything.
Right, and that's really it. But I will say the lights outside the house look great. Like the scenes that like you see outside the house with the lights look awesome. When you see the tree in the handful of scenes that it's in, it looks well decorated. And I even think the interior of Ted's car is decorated for Christmas. If you look closely, he has like some garland hanging from the roof of his car.
Either that or that's just how his car looks. I'm not quite sure.
But I do want to point out that we're in Wisconsin and there's no snow on the ground.
Not
what the hell?
A flake, Jay.
And this won't be the last. Well, and Fabrice Zafratos said one of the reasons he wanted to set it in Wisconsin at Christmas was because of the snow on the ground. Mm-hmm. And then there's no snow on the ground. It's clearly like fall or winter because there's no leaves on the trees. You only see evergreen trees. Which
that also was weird that they were hunting deer at this time of year.
Right.
Deer hunting season's usually over by Christmas.
But for the kills, I don't think
you could stretch any of these into Christmas.
Samurai Orgasm Ghost is very Christmassy, but I may be wrong on my Christmas tradition lore.
I don't know. This movie, there's been a lot of Christmas movies on this list that haven't felt very Christmassy, but I gotta say this one's one of probably the least Christmassy.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, we'll leave our stockings out for the Samurai Orgasm Ghost this Christmas. Oh, shit. All right. Do you want to move on to Christmas wrapping?
I mean, we might as well.
First, Gary. Every outfit he wears is a 10 out of 10. He has hunting gear that's camo. Looks great. I was
going to say, he's top tier Wisconsin for sure.
He dresses like a cowboy in one of the scenes. He looks fantastic. And has a great beard. I love Gary. Yeah. He's the best.
And that's pretty much the only memorable thing in this movie, costume-wise.
And towards the end, Dolly wears a long t-shirt and leg warmers, and that's kind of a great look.
Yeah, very Wisconsin again.
And then Kathy has like a cool kind of rainbow shawl. That's like she wears it the entire movie.
I was gonna say that's her blood beat wrapping, Jay.
And then probably my favorite thing is when Paul is running from the Samurai Orgasm Ghost. He's wearing a flannel bathrobe, a green and white mesh trucker cap,
yep,
a white t-shirt, and tidy whities. but he keeps trying to cover his underwear while he's running, and it just makes him look really silly the whole time.
Now that is peak Wisconsin, Jay. A flannel bathrobe in your underwear with a trucker hat.
And he's running, and like, I'm like, is he not wearing anything? And then one scene you kind of see that he's wearing tiny whities, and then he like pulls it forward to cover his underwear, and it just looks so silly while he's running from a samurai ghost.
You know, Jay, I'm beginning to think the director might have just been on drugs the entire time and didn't even know what was happening.
I will say though, some decent blood work on some of the kills, like when Paul walks in and finds Christy stabbed by the samurai orgasm ghost.
No, I would say out of everything done on this movie, probably the effects were the best. But like I said, even being able to pull off rotoscoping on this movie's budget was pretty impressive.
Right. Yeah, I think that's all I have for.
There's some decent gore and.
Oh yeah, when they see like Paul's body kind of posed in front of their house, like that's kind of that's a good scene.
Oh, and don't forget about the random eviscerated man in the woods.
Yeah,
we never hear from again.
Yeah, that we never hear about before or since.
Nope, don't know him.
Well, just like every Christmas, you got to replace your Christmas lights for. You got to replace your broken bulb and get a brilliant bulb up there. What's one thing you would fix in this movie?
It existing? No. Honestly, I would put some plot into this movie, Jay. I think I would have hired somebody to write me a script that I could film so that there would be some kind of coherent thing going on and not just random scenes of people mashed together walking around the woods in Wisconsin and then sitting in a house and random cuts of a girl masturbating to a ghost killing people who's for some reason in samurai armor. That's never quite made clear why.
Like I said, I think I said to you, I was like, it's the ghost of Emperor Hirohito.
Yeah, I mean, that's as good of an explanation as anything. You could pretty much say this movie is whatever you want.
My broken bulb is that Zafartos was so high that this movie is nonsensical.
Personally, I think that this is a sequel to Friday the 13th, Part 7. I think that's where Jason fights the Carrie.
Yeah, I think so too.
I say the Carrie because it's not the actual Carrie.
Yeah, Jason fights a Carrie.
It's a species of Carrie.
But my brilliant bulb for the movie being so nonsensical, for no budget, it's kind of an insanely fun watch. Like it's you know, it's enthralling. I don't know, like for a lack of budget, like they at least made a movie that like I wasn't completely bored during.
Well, let's say my brilliant bulb was it's a good movie to watch with friends because I had a lot more fun watching it with Jay than I did rewatching it. It's like if you're going to watch this on your own, you're going to be bored probably, and you're just going to be trying to understand this movie, and you might as well just give up because there is no understanding Bloodbeat because there's nothing to understand. You know, the thing that kept popping up in my mind is this is what would happen to the leech if the guy had been on drugs the entire time in the story. This has heavy leech vibes, but the leech is like a million times better.
Oh man, maybe, yeah, this is the prequel to the leech, maybe.
I mean, it's leeches drink blood, Jay.
True, and then leeches could get a blood beat.
Yeah.
we're gonna at least make this our canon that this is the prequel to the leech in some weird way.
Much like many prequels, it is much inferior.
But
yes, I think you could have a decent time like watching this with a group of friends.
No, I think that's what makes this movie. But this would be like a great MST3K. This would be a great thing to like put on at like a movie night somewhere, like a bad movie night or something. Like
we were talking about it. We can't believe Joe Bob hasn't done this.
No, this is one that I've absolutely been every year since I've seen this. I've been like, oh, Bloodbeat's got to be the Joe Bob Christmas special this year, and it never is. And I just want it to be so bad.
Think of the pre-movie rundown, Jay. All the things you could have on there. 3 orgasm kills.
I just want to see like the meltdown on social media as like Joe Bob like makes people watch this movie.
You have to watch Bloodbeat now if you want to watch The Last Drive-In. Suffer like the rest of us.
So let's get into our final rating. We rate these movies. We rate our Christmas horror movies on one of 3 categories. Are they seasonally scary? Are they ho 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 hilarious? Or are they you'll be sorry? Jeff?
Oh, you want me to start?
Yeah, you go first.
It's a "You Will Be Sorry" from me.
Boo.
It has some entertaining moments in it, but not nearly enough to carry you through.
Boo, you're wrong.
It makes absolutely no sense. Like I said, you'll understand nothing about Bloodbeat after watching this movie. The only caveat I would give is if you can watch it with a group of friends, it would be like fun to sit and make fun of while you watch. But honestly, it just kept popping up in my mind. It's like, this is what the Leech would be like if it was bad.
Boo, get off the
I mean,
stage.
obviously, you could tell what Jay Logsdon, the crowd, thinks in the background. He enjoys this movie a lot more than I do, so I'm assuming he's going to give it a ho hilarious.
Final rating, ho hilarious. I have no earthly idea what happens in this movie or what it's about. I just tried to piece together what I could from the synopsis, what I saw on the TV, or for this synopsis from what I saw on the TV, and from like reading a bunch of Grant Morrison comics, because Grant Morrison has that weird thing about orgasming magic or whatever that he talks about sometimes.
Well, Jay, I will say our wives both had the same review for this. Because when I was getting ready to leave after we watched this the last time, Andrew's like, it is a movie.
Literally, the words bloodbeat are never said once in the movie. I think the idea of bloodbeat is supposed to be like blood pounding in your ears, like heart pounding adrenaline or something like that.
I suppose.
But instead it makes it more fun just to call whatever is going on in the movie, whatever their powers are, just to call it the blood beat, because that makes the movie more entertaining.
I mean, it's like your standard set of psychic powers, but random people in the movie seem to have them, and they seem to be effective to like varying degrees.
And they seem to be orgasm related at times.
But Ted never has any orgasm blood beat powers.
True.
He
But
never even exhibits a single sign of the blood beat until the very end.
Disagree. Like I said, the weird face he makes when he's using his blood beat is probably his coming face.
He's not using his blood beat, Jay. Is he even using it, or is he just channeling his blood beat through him?
But I think this weird movie is just so silly and fun to watch that it can't be anything else than ho hilarious. Like yeah, probably watch it with at least one other person so you can both laugh about how stupid it is.
You're gonna need somebody else with you. I'd say it'd be ho hilarious if you have somebody watching it with you. If you're watching it on your own, it's gonna be a "You'll Be Sorry."
No, I think this would be like a fantastic
This is a party movie for sure.
a party movie, or like put it on. Like I think this would be fun to like put on at like the Varsity or like another movie theater for like one of those midnights at 10 grindhouse things.
Oh no.
And just like, but let everybody know ahead of time, this movie is insanely stupid. Like,
yeah, you need a title card warning people before Bloodbeat. Like, warning, Bloodbeat makes absolutely no sense. You will not understand this movie.
speaking of title card warnings, I don't know if you got this. So at the end, when it goes and cuts to the like the different when it goes to cut to the end credits, like the quality of the film dramatically drops.
Yes.
So they restored the film from its masters, but they could not find a single good, like, usable set of the end credits. And so that's why, like, the last, like, 3 minutes of the movie are just like a completely different, like, terrible film shot.
It teleports you back to 1983.
As it's like all I would almost say it's like a yellowish sepia tone almost kind of scene.
Well, honestly, that's the real hero of this story. The people who restored this garbage cut of this movie to a watchable one on a regular TV.
I mean, yeah, that's what Vinegar Syndrome does. They take movies that, like, you know, exist only on VHS, movies that are about to go extinct. These boutique people, Arrow, I think Terror Vision's another one. They take things that, you know, are basically about to disappear if they don't get a re-release, and they put them out on DVD or Blu-ray or 4K.
And usually they have a much easier time because the person shooting the movie actually shot it as a movie and not a TV show.
I think it's implied, at least in Matt Dupé's book, that Fabrice Ange Zafratos was like smoking pot the whole time, but I'm pretty sure he was on stuff that's much heavier than pot.
Say, if he was smoking pot, it was laced with LSD, Jay.
There's no way that pot makes this movie.
No.
Pot's made some of these episodes, but pot has never made one of these movies.
As I say, this movie does not say pot to me. It says mushrooms or LSD.
Oh man, it's just what a weird movie.
Maybe the blood beat is an elaborate metaphor for the DMT, Jay.
Aaron Rodgers goes and blood beats in caves before tearing his ACL 5 snaps into his first game in New York. Sorry, Achilles.
Oh, here we are with Jay and his Packers talking.
Ride the love train. Oh man, this episode's gonna really suck when it comes out and the Packers get their skulls caved in by the 49ers on Sunday or on Saturday, and then I have to release this episode on Monday where I'm all confident.
Well, we'll find out, Jay. Maybe this year will be different than every other year.
Every other year, the Packers play the Niners in the playoffs and get their butts kicked. Oh, we can only hope. Let's move on to our naughty list. Samurai Orgasm Ghost, who's been feuding with a Midwestern housewife for millennia. Where do you put her on the naughty list?
I mean, it's a supernatural figure, so I guess above our regular killers, but at like the bottom of the supernatural figures, I would say, because she's beaten by 2 people who just had their own blood beats activate.
Right, but 2 blood beats are better than 1, I guess.
I mean, I guess. But their mom's blood beat has been going for years, and she seems to be like insanely powerful, but then for some reason the samurai ghost just kills her.
I don't know. Sure, why not? I literally put down kills 8 people. We really need to get this list written down so we can actually place these things on the naughty list.
I mean, honestly though, I'm not convinced that somebody like Brooklyn Santa wouldn't kick this ghost's ass.
Right. Literally gets defeated the first time with an
I was
axe.
gonna say, so it's like even our lower tier human killers. I mean, let alone, you put 4 birds Santa up against this guy.
You're right. Let's put Orgasm Samurai Ghost right above Terrence Shade.
Yeah.
I think that's the perfect one.
Yeah.
Maybe right above Santa Claus. CLAWS.
No, you know what? You're right, Jay. Above Santa Claus, because I think this ghost could take Santa Claus and Terrence Shade. But any other one of our killers, I think, would murder this ghost.
Do we maybe have one person below Terrence Shade now? I don't remember. It's like I said, we need to go back through and write all these down.
I don't think anyone has ever ended up below him.
Okay.
And that's just because he's like, he literally does nothing but like maybe kill his own children.
Maybe.
We're not sure what actually happened.
All right. Well, let's clean out our email inbox in a segment we like to call
Garbage Day! Huh? No!
And Jeff, we got a couple emails again.
Oh boy.
These are both from Spencer Ellis, who got in touch with us last time we had some emails. First one is, Dear Jay and Jeff, I hope you, your families and friends, and everyone around you is safe and have not been directly impacted by the tragic shooting at Perry High School yesterday. So this tells you when this came out.
Yep.
As horror fans, we enjoy watching creative kills on screen and in books, but we are more terrified of the reality of the world we live in when things like this happen. These horrible incidents happen way too frequently and are forgotten too quickly as another happens and replaces it, and the cycle goes on and on. I wish that those who are distraught and need help can find it before resorting to senseless violence and murder. I guess that we're the lucky ones who have found a community in the horror genre, because we're all misfits in our own ways and we still have each other, and that's the glue that binds us, which is horror. I hope that this is not indicative of what lies ahead in store for 2024. Stay safe and keep cranking out those great, extraordinarily entertaining and hilarious episodes. I don't know about that. But thank you for the nice words, Spencer. Just do me one favor, more weekly stocking stuffers, please, because I love your show.
All right, we're doing weekly content.
Yeah,
thank you for flattering our massive egos.
But yeah, hopefully in early February we can start putting out some more. Maybe it won't be every week, but we'll try to get more stuff out.
Oh, and thanks to this movie, Jay, I think we have a solution to school shootings. Just arm teachers with the blood beat.
Yeah, we'll start giving people blood beat powers. Right around the time of the Perry school shooting, I know Jeff was having a personal family issue.
Yes.
So it was kind of one of those things where I'm like, I don't even know if Jeff's aware of what's going on.
Yes.
Because he had his own thing going on. The best man at my wedding, I believe his mom teaches at the Perry Grimes, whatever school district. She's an elementary school teacher, but her and then one of my wife's friends' sons went to Perry High School and he's safe. But
I have a few friends who go to school in the Perry School District, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that's now real scary thing, real tragic event. Very, very somber. not really a thing that we know how to deal with on this
No.
show, because normally we're goofing around and saying dumb shit.
The only thing that could stop a bad guy with a blood bead is a good guy with a blood bead, Jay.
You're right. We'll start giving teachers blood beat powers. Why not? Then yesterday, Spencer sent another email. Hey, Jay and Jeff, I just wanted to let you know that the Chiller Theater Expo, April 26th through the 28th, will feature celebrity guests Robert Brian Wilson, Silent Night, Deadly Night, Eric Freeman, Silent Night, Deadly Night 2,
Say, that's a 2.
and Lynn Griffith, Claire from Black Christmas, for autographs and pictures. It's in New Jersey, which is a big hike for you guys. It would be cool to see you guys there. As always, keep up the awesome work. So, I mean, I looked it up. I believe it was like Paramus, New Jersey, I think. Let me double check that before. Parsippany, New Jersey, sorry. And it's like 16 hours away.
Yeah, I was going to say, because it took us about 18 hours, I think, to get to New York. So,
So, Jeff, are we going to drive to New Jersey in April?
well, that will depend heavily on what day of the week it is and whether I can get time off from work.
All right. Well, we'll look into that.
We'll have to see. But, I mean, I would be down to go.
No, I think it'd be a blast. It'd be a fun thing to do. And maybe if Matt and
True, Matt and Mike can meet us.
Yeah.
Because Pennsylvania is way closer,
Yep.
obviously.
yeah, we tried to get Mike to go and experience a real New Jersey Christmas. But yeah, no, I think that would be a blast. It'd be so cool to meet Eric Freeman and Robert Brian Wilson.
We could have him say garbage day in real life, Jay.
Oh man, we'd get so many pictures taken.
Can you sign our garbage day?
Oh man, yeah, we'll look into it. We'll see how our schedules match up and everything like that. Like Jeff said.
No, that does sound fun.
No, I'll forward you the information I have, and we can talk about it off the air. But I thought that was really cool, and Spencer, thank you for letting us know about that. That would be amazing if we could make that work.
Right now, Spencer's our number 1 fan, so if you want to knock him out of the rankings, you're gonna have to start being better than him.
But yeah, if you want to send us an email for our Garbage Day segment, keep Jeff from having to be subjected to eating terrible foods that I give him. You can send us an email at horrorfortheholidays@gmail.com. Just, usually include Garbage Day somewhere in your subject title.
Might as well.
If you want to get in touch with us on social media, we are on Twitter, currently known as X. There we go. We're on Blue Sky. We're on Threads. We're on Instagram. We are at horror4 holidays.
Yes.
Horror 4 holidays.
We're on all the social medias. We're at youtube.com/horrorfortheholidays. We're on all the pod catchers.
Yep. Downcast, Upcast, Sideways Cast.
In the Closet cast. Blood Beating cast.
the blood beating off cast.
We're also on Apple Podcasts, of course, Spotify, all that crap.
Yep. And we're not going to do that weird thing where Spotify's like release exclusive content on our app. No, we're not going to do that.
Do we look like Joe Rogan to you, Spotify?
Yeah. Do we look like various podcasters who decide to do those things? No. We're as lo-fi as it gets.
I'm easily 3 times the size of Joe Rogan.
You could eat Joe Rogan.
I could. He's not very tall.
Follow us on the Q app. It kind of makes our movie decisions.
Yes, Q guides us, Jay.
QUEUE. We are there at horror4 holidays. As Jeff described earlier, we spun the wheel. It popped up with like Krampus Origins. I went, we just did a Krampus movie last month. I'm gonna spin it again. Spun it again. It popped up with Krampus, the Michael Dougherty movie, and I went, no, we just did a Krampus movie. I'm gonna spin it again, and then it landed on Bloodbeat.
Yeah, that was our punishment, Jay, for you subverting the wheel twice.
I stand by it. If it had been February and it popped up with a Krampus movie, I'd be okay with it. But it's the fact that we just did a Krampus movie.
We've been subverting the wheel.
Never. But yeah, other than that, tell a friend. I think that's the best way to get in touch with people.
That is.
Let them know that they like that you like this podcast. If you're at a thing and someone's like, oh, what are you listening to, or any podcast you've been listening to, tell them about it. See if it's up their alley. You know, I think that's word of mouth and telling somebody who you're friends with about something is the best way to move something on. And people, reviews and whatever are great, but it's really those personal connections really helps spread the word.
Word of mouth, the oldest trick in the book, Jay. One of your friends tells you have to listen to something, then you have to go listen to it.
Yeah, one of your friends is like, hey, check out this podcast called Horror for the Holidays. It fucking sucks, but maybe you'll have fun with it.
Yeah. I wanted to claw my own eyes out after listening to it. That's how bad it was.
Yeah, they talked about this movie Bloodbeat. I have no idea what's going on in that episode.
Neither do we.
But no, we're actually, this is going to be a shorter episode than normal, which is weird for us.
Well, there's only so much you can talk about in regards to Bloodbeat, Jay.
The cinematic masterpiece known as Bloodbeat.
Well, I mean, that's appropriate. The movie itself is less than feature length.
Yeah, so our episode is shorter than normal. But yeah, like I said, hopefully in February we can have a couple more weekly episodes. We tried to get one out this month, but I don't know that it's going to work.
Honestly, I think what we need to do is just record all these, record a month's worth of stocking stuffers, maybe just in one day.
Yeah.
Then just have them in the bank.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
That way we can get Spencer what he wants.
Yeah, we'll talk about that off air, and people don't need to hear how the sausage is made.
Like they don't know already.
That we just blather around for an hour.
Yeah, we're making up this whole podcasting game. We're coming up with all these new innovative ideas, like making content before we need it.
No, we always release these we always record these days before we're supposed to come out.
We recorded at 1:00 Monday morning. Like, oh shit, this is an episode day.
But yeah, otherwise, thanks for listening. We appreciate you all. Thanks for listening.
Yes, and thank you again, Spencer, for your kind, flattering words.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Jay Loxton hates Bloodbeat.
Wrong.